All right, so this is our special election coverage, the debate.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or can we really call it a debate? Because
No.
it wasn't really a debate. Hi, I'm Tom Lord, and with me I have the water girl, Brandy James, and the fabulous Chris Lattice Drake, and we're going to talk about the Chamber of Commerce debate. It wasn't really a debate, though, let's be honest. It was more of a statement of platform, if you will.
Yeah.
Because all the candidates had all the questions ahead of schedule. They were able to write out their answers ahead of time, and
They knew the order, they knew everything.
yeah, and there was one candidate in particular who obviously had a script that he could not remove his eyes from. If you didn't see it, it is on Facebook. It's on the Positively Osceola Facebook page. But they didn't really advertise it very well. It wasn't really out there. A lot of people didn't know. We tried to get the word out to people as much as we could, but that might not even have been enough. But you really didn't miss too much, I'll tell you that. But we're going to talk about it anyway. There was another debate. It was a libertarian debate that was free online. Only 2 candidates showed up. 2 candidates said they were going to submit statements and never did. But I will tell you this, that after I watched both debates, I think we all did.
And I went to, Brandy and I actually went to the Republican one as well.
Yeah, we did.
With the Republican candidates.
It wasn't a debate. It was a meet and greet
Yeah, it
for
was
just the Republican candidates.
And it was anybody who was registered as a Republican of the candidates that were there. So.
Yeah.
And then me.
So I for me, the libertarian debate was more free, spirited. It was more like discussion. Although they kept it civil, it was just Phil Lantry and Daniel Minkler who were there for that debate. And I thought that one was at least a bit superior to the Chamber of Commerce debate.
I agree.
Well, because I think it was fed by the community. We were allowed to ask questions.
Yeah.
They were asking
and that's
questions
important. There are candidates, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was kind
and
of...
they didn't know what was coming at them, so
Correct.
what they were saying was
From the
truly
moment.
off the cuff and,
Yeah.
and was their feelings in that moment, you know. Stark contrast to the
Yeah, and kudos. I hate using that word. I can't believe I just used that word. But anyway, props to Marcos Marrero, who is the chairman of the Osceola County Libertarian Party.
he did a great job.
Did a great job with that. But we're going to talk about the chamber debate only because all 5 candidates were actually there. We were there in the audience as well as many people. One thing that stuck out to me, though, was that Dirk Webb, who is the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, had said before the debate even began, and you can see this on the video, that there was going to be no campaigning in that hall. And I would say at least 30 people were wearing Colby Urban t-shirts.
Yeah.
And, you know,
And
I mean...
screaming and hooting and hollering.
Yeah, like I don't care if you're wearing the t-shirts. That doesn't bother
Yeah.
me. You know, if I had already selected a candidate, I would have probably been sporting one of their t-shirts. But I have to say, and you know, in the beginning, like, you know, I was like, okay, well, that doesn't really come across as... Personally, I was like, you know, the hoot and the holler and the screaming, you know... I also know it was his birthday, so I think they came to maybe celebrate thereafter or whatever.
Right.
And it's okay. I have to say this, though. I want to say that I thought it was at least every single person in the building, for the most part, was very respectful to all 5 candidates.
Yeah.
I do believe that everyone conducted themselves as adults, which I thought was great. You know, and I will say that all 4 of the 5 candidates made it a point to mingle with the residents.
Yeah.
We even spoke with Colby Urban firsthand.
Yeah.
And I know people saw our video and thought we're such bad, you know, on such bad terms with Colby. But we have spoken with Colby, and he mingled the crowd. And I will say only one candidate chose not to. That's his loss. I mean, you're supposed to represent the people. I would think the last thing you'd want to do is not get to know your residents that you'll be representing as constituents.
Right.
But I have to say, my personal opinion, the thing that I like the least about this debate is being prepared.
Yeah.
Not only did they know the order of the questions, but they knew the order of who was going to go first to last.
Answer, yeah.
Right? And so I felt like you said, what came best off for me for the Libertarian one, and even the Republican one that Brandy and I attended, was the guests at the Republican one wrote, you know, on an index card, and they chose several, not all of them. There was quite a packed room.
Yeah, it was good.
And so it was nice, though, because the thing I liked the best is, in my opinion, the Republican one had a better variance of questions.
Yes.
Because there were more people in the crowd.
Yeah.
The Libertarian one, not enough people watched, but I liked how
Right.
Marcos held it.
Yeah.
Marcos?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. I want to make sure I get that correct. And I appreciate him doing that because it gave us an insight to some of the candidates, and everyone was invited. And so I do appreciate that personally. I can say, though, at the chamber one, the one thing I liked the best about that was they were quickly timed, and it was very regimented. Each person got the exact amount of time.
Yeah.
I will say Mr. Webb was pretty swift on, okay, next
people off.
Yep, next along. And I like that because I don't want somebody to drone on their saying things over and over again. The thing I liked the least about the chamber one was a lot of the questions were geared toward the exact same thing. Small business, small business, small business, small business. And it was kind of they were kind of repetitive in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wish that there would have been a better rainbow of questions.
Which I guess being it was the chambers, it's pertinent to
them, sure. But if you're hosting it and you're doing it for the citizens, think about what the citizens are concerned with, in my opinion. And maybe they have a very big platform. Maybe they could have reached out and said, hey guys, we're going to be having this debate in a week. Do you guys have any questions specifically you'd like to submit? I think that would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah, or put something out there for the citizens and say, hey, we're going to have this debate. Here, if you have a question you want asked,
I mean, I think it's all, we all know why this was structured the way that it was.
Sure.
Colby's been involved in the chamber for a very long time. And they've already chosen their candidates. So they were going to make questions that make him look good. Imagine that.
Are you saying that it was one-sided? Come on now.
I do want to call out all of 4 of the candidates did a really great job.
They sure did.
Giving detailed answers that I think really spoke to the people.
Sure.
I want to applaud Phil Lantry because he's the only one out of 5 people on that table that had no notes in front of him. Everything that he was saying was directly from his head and out of his mouth. And I mean, that speaks volumes. So good job.
And I have to say, one of the things that I was kind of like, is anybody else not noticing this? One of the candidates kept his mask on the entire time. And I'm okay with that. You choose you. I will make choices for other people's bodies. But if you felt that uncomfortable, why would not ask to sit maybe a little bit further away? Because this is what I heard.
Yeah, it was really hard to hear.
And it was like Charlie Brown's teacher. And personally, I'm a little hard of hearing. And that's, you all know that. And I'm literally, what? I can't understand what he's saying. And he's reading off the script. So his head is down. He has a mask on. So it's a literal, I've seen the top of someone's head, and I'm hearing, whoa. And then when they got up to the podium themselves, none of the candidates touched the microphone except for maybe to adjust the height. But he could have taken off the mask. He was the only one standing there.
No. Well, he couldn't get his face out from the papers that he had in front of him.
I mean,
he was just like this the whole time.
I thought it was a really poor showing. And that's my personal opinion.
I mean, he was obviously the worst by far at that debate.
He was the least prepared.
We're talking about Victor Rivera, by the way, okay?
He was terrible.
He was terrible.
I mean,
horrible.
I think to anybody that was watching, it was blatantly obvious that he was not in that race to win, and he was in there for other reasons.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel.
I definitely say he was the least qualified.
I mean, there is...
Each of the 4
You can't be that unprepared trying to win.
He didn't do himself any favors by going to that debate.
No. I say this. The other 4 candidates at least came to the table with, even though sometimes the right answer is the right answer, so all 4 candidates will have to regurgitate the right answer in a different form or fashion, obviously. Because, listen, if there's only one thing, what color is this? It's purple. Okay, we all know it's purple. It's lavender, it's lilac, it's plum. There's a way to regurgitate it. So I do understand that going down the list, a lot of the candidates kind of reiterated, and some of them even said, I support what so-and-so said or whatever. But I have to say this, though. I have to say that he spoke in circles.
Yeah.
When they asked about how would you bring small business, well, we have small businesses, and we want to keep small businesses, so that brings businesses to keep the businesses, and we have businesses. Well, it seemed very ill-prepared.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but if that was a controlled environment, what's going to happen when you have to go in front of a panel excuse me, on the dais, and like I said to one of the candidates 2 nights before when I saw them at the Republican meeting, and I said, you have about 57,000 people in this community, right? There's times where you're going to have to make a decision that you may not agree with, but say it benefits 40,000 people. Okay? Well, you're going to have 17,000 people that are going to come like angry villagers with torches in their hands, right? There's a lot of people who are getting more involved in our local politics every day. Thank God. You're right. Absolutely. Hands down. So what happens when these people come and you're facing adversity, number one, and number two, you have to be prepared to think off the cuff, like you said. Yeah. And number three, you have to be well versed on a lot of what's going on. I have to say, the one thing that really I was just like, and I said it out loud while we were there, when Mr. Rivera said, "Oh, they're in my neighborhood cleaning the water every day," and I said, "Thank you, Brandy," because he lives in Brandy's subdivision, I guess.
Or at least he said. I mean,
no, he does. He does. Yeah. And I actually am the admin for our neighborhood Facebook page, and he is neither him nor his wife are members of that page. I've never once seen him speak out about the water. So
and
it's
his
very
voting record's not there either.
Yeah, and so it's very interesting to me that you live in a neighborhood that's highly affected by the resin.
Completely.
But you know nothing about it, but yet you're running for a seat on city council.
And then you choose to oppose the one person who's been the most vocal and tough for supporting getting your family, your children that you had there, clean water. I don't know. It just is a weird taste.
And then to actually, through the water page that we have on Facebook, be attacked by his wife.
Well, she attacked on several different platforms.
You know, that was just me, but it was through the water page.
Early morning hours, by the way. I mean...
But it was through the water page, of all things. And I'm like, look, I'm not just doing this water page with you guys because I want clean water. I want clean water for everybody.
We all have friends and family in this community. Every single one of us that's been involved with Save St. Cloud, we're not the only members of our families that live here.
Right.
I've met some of your cousins. I've met some of your family. You know some of my family. We've all gone to school together. My brother, your cousin, grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, it's just funny to me. So without picking on him per se, I have to say, I really felt like it spoke volumes how ill prepared he was.
Yeah.
That if I had to vote for any of the five, hands down, my personal opinion is he would be the last choice. I wouldn't vote if he was the only candidate. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. Just at least bring something to the table for your constituents, your residents, whatever you choose to call them. And I have a lot of respect for somebody who, I may not agree with you, but I have a lot of respect for somebody who's willing to do their due diligence, their homework, get involved, and know what's going on in the community. And I have to say, one of the other things that spoke to me personally was his lack of a voting record.
Yeah.
That spoke to me as well. You have access to find that out, folks. You have access to find out how many times they voted, in how many campaign or how many elections. Sorry.
Yeah.
How many elections? He voted once.
Yeah.
Once.
I think
I think they said that he had originally filed in 2012, and the only time he ever voted was in 2020.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe something along them lines. I know he's only voted one time.
You know what's so...
And that's been brought to our attention, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, by 3 people.
Yeah.
Who have access to that and have brought it out there.
Well, you know what's funny is that it's a little off topic, but it seems like the majority of people that are vocally opposite of us, that do not like what we're doing, that do not support our work,
have very light voting records.
Have like non-existent voting records. Correct. Where I'm a super voter.
She's
a super voter. I'm not sure about you, but you know, you vote.
Yeah.
And it's just wild to me that people want to come out and be so critical, but they actually don't go out and actually vote.
Because the difference isn't here. The difference is in the poll.
Yeah.
You go in that booth, you vote privately, you vote your conscience, you vote what's best for your community. And I'll show my age, I don't care. I know Tom and I spoke 1,000 times over how we graduated a long time ago together. I was so excited to register to vote.
Me too.
My mom was the payroll supervisor for Osceola County for a long time before she passed. And it was Bring Your Kid to Work Day on December 8th of 1993. And it was the day after my mama's birthday, and that's why I remember. And my mom said, I'm going to bring you to work to the county. And I said, oh, cool. And she goes, and guess what you're going to do? And I said, what? She said, you're going to get to go register to vote. Boy, was I excited. I carried that voter ID card with me like it was a pass to the candy store.